Freedom of speech was very important to the founders because they needed freedom of speech to conduct a revolution. Speech enabled them to communicate, formulate their plans, and decide when it was time to rise up against Great Britain.
They also had to convince people to join their cause. They had to get the crowd behind them.
They were trying to change their government, and it was essential for that purpose that they be allowed to say what was wrong with the government they had. But the British wouldn't let them do that.
Under Britain's seditious libel laws in the colonies, it was a crime for people to criticize the government.
There were a lot of issues where someone criticized the king and they could be punished for it, whether what they said was true or not.
So after they won the revolution and created a new form of government, the founders made freedom of speech one of the key freedoms in the Bill of Rights. Because for a democracy to work, people need to be able to speak freely.
If the people are going to control the government, they have to be able to talk about it. They have to be able to say what it's doing right, what it's doing wrong, what needs to be changed. So the idea that citizens can criticize their government is really at the heart of democracy.
But over the next few hundred years, the nation's courts decided there are certain types of speech in certain places where the government can place some restrictions on free speech. And one of those places is public schools.
Student speech raises a whole bunch of different and pretty difficult First Amendment issues.
Schools have to maintain order in order to have teaching go on.
And part of that is they have to control student behavior.
Imagine for a second what would happen if schools couldn't control any student speech. Come on, you know.
You couldn't make them answer questions in class. You couldn't stop them from speaking when they weren't called on.
A student in a history class cannot start giving a speech about mathematics.
Okay, we got triangles and we're...
You cannot speak German in Spanish class.
It would be chaos, right?
In order to maintain a productive learning environment, we really have to institute norms, and teachers have to be allowed to enforce them.
And so while students have significant free speech rights, those rights are not unlimited.
So what free speech protections do students have, and how do we decide what speech is allowed and what is not?